Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a live episode of the Jay and Will Show. I'm Jay,
I am Will.
and we have kind of a special edition episode this evening, just to kind of get you all into Monday Night Football tonight. We first are going to take a few minutes to discuss the Dallas Cowboys victory yesterday over the Washington football team, and then we have Um, I started a bit of an unusual schedule for NFL slate of games this week. Usually we don't do the Thursday night preview, but we felt like it was such an important game this week that we wanted to touch on it. And then we have a couple of Saturday evening games this week as well that we're going to touch on this video as well. Before we get into that, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to take a step back and discuss the Dallas Cowboys victory yesterday over the Washington football team by a score of 27-20. For the most part, for the majority of that game, it wasn't that close, but obviously we had a cavalcade of issues in the fourth quarter that made the game more interesting than it probably should have been. So, Will, I'll kick it over to you, man. Just thoughts on the game, just overall perspective of now that we're 9-4, how things look moving forward.
I say what the first 55 minutes basically of that game, they showed that they were easily the class of the NFC East, by far one of the top tier teams in the NFC. Then that last 5 minutes was just pure chaos. But the defense played really well. They got 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and an interception, which I'm still salty about that they only had the 1 interception off of the athletic play by Randy Gregory, because they definitely should have ended up having at least at a minimum 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Just off of, because they could have got, they almost had 2 off of 1 drive, like back to
Yeah.
back plays or something. So yeah, it's kind of upsetting that they didn't get more, especially with the defense is really opportunistic as they are. Then you have Michael Parsons continually to put his hat in for not only just rookie defensive player of the year, but also defensive player of the year. They said that he went from like his betting odds were like 2,800 to 400 overnight. Like now he's
Mm-hmm.
number 3. He has the third best odds behind T.J. Watt and Miles Garrett. So just to show you how insane it is, to me, I mean, it's I am biased, but I think the fact that he's doing it on a team that's leading the division and has a chance for uh, not just home field that first round, but still outside chance of that first round bye. I should have him like even more talked about than just TJ and Miles Garrett. So, but like I said, I'm biased.
Yeah.
But with that game, yeah, they something's off with Dak. I was happy to see that he finally ran on that last first down that they picked up to be basically ice out the game because he needs to do that more just to keep defenses honest. But he just, I don't know, it just seems off. Like outside of because I can't 100% say that that last interception that he threw, that pick six. So they ran that play earlier, and CD was wide open. So I'm thinking like that guy might have just undercut and he didn't see him. So it's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt with that one. But that one that he threw earlier that went straight to Lyndon Collins was just a bad throw, overthrow to CD. Like, but yeah, I still feel like he's been off because there's been several wide receiver screens that he badly threw. It's been across the middle. It's been insane of late as well. But you get him a sideline throw, that thing is right there.
Right.
Corner
On the
end zone
money.
on sideline, he's right there. So it's just insane to see like you go from having to make the throw along the sideline, corner of the end zone, but something in the middle is just a wild throw right now. So I still hoping he'll get it together. Tyron's hurt, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to be tough sledding whenever he's out. I feel like it doesn't matter who we play. It'll be tough
Hmm.
to slide in. So,
Yeah.
what you think?
Um. First off, I don't think I mentioned this whole thing at the beginning of the broadcast. We are live on both YouTube and the Twitch channel. And on the Twitch channel, we got the CEO shouting us out. So what's going on, Real
Mm-hmm.
C? There, appreciate you, boy. Um. So that kind of stinks right now. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It kind of
Okay.
stinks right now. It's just weird how like it doesn't seem like we can kind of get both things going at once. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is the best defense Dax had his entire career. Like, and it's not even
By far.
close, right? Like
Yeah.
by far, it's just the best defense he's ever had in his career. And for whatever reason, it's just not like once the defense is, and we saw how much potential the defense had without even having the guys back. And then this is
Yeah.
the first game where we had as close to full strength as we've been all year, and you
Yeah.
see them just demolish the offensive line for the football team and just absolutely destroy Tyler Heineke, knock him out the game twice,
Yeah.
like just destroyed them. We saw Trayvon Diggs have a tremendous game. The parts of the game where Terry McLaurin was guarded by him, he didn't catch a ball.
Nothing.
He
Nothing.
blanketed him the entire game. And obviously the one touchdown, that
That
freak
was
play, I mean, you just
that
shake the
was
dude's
crazy.
hand at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like Trayvon's hand is right there. Like I don't know what else you can do besides pick the ball off in that
And
situation.
the QB getting out of that sack too to
Yeah,
even
it
have
was
that
just
chance.
it's
Yeah.
just like, fluky, like,
Yeah.
so you know, I'm just I before I get into the offense, I can't overstate how excited I am about how this defense is playing and just the potential is there, knowing that it's only going to get better once they get their reps back and get in the rhythm
Yeah.
and kind of understand what their roles are, and having Micah be a fifth guy rushing the passer. When you have five guys rushing, five linemen, you can't double team anybody, because if you do, then
Yeah.
somebody gets free. So you're playing one on one with Tank, with Randy Gregory, with Micah Parsons, with either
That whole
Odigizua or Gallimore. Like,
yeah.
good luck. So even if your O line has solid players, whether it's a solid left tackle or right tackle, like your whole five ain't that solid. So if you gotta go
Yeah.
one on one, somebody's gonna have an issue. And so that part makes things really exciting. And I think that also makes it easier for what Dan Quinn wants to do in terms of playing man, because now you're rushing the quarterback, his clock is shorter because of that
Mhm.
pressure. And so you're kind of able to gamble on certain things from a coverage perspective. And so we talked about in the preview how we knew Heineke was going to give us opportunity. We just had to catch the balls, and we
Yeah.
missed a few of them that we could have had. Like you said, we could have had probably three of them at least.
Mhm.
Um, that would have just made things a lot easier. But I mean, I can't nitpick on the defense. They played their asses off throughout the
Yeah.
entire game, so that
Yeah.
kudos to them. Offense, obviously, on the other hand, is different discussion. Obviously, we know the run game is what it is right now because all of our backs are, I guess, our two primary backs are banged up. Either they are out or just not effective at this point.
Yeah.
And so I think to some degree, it kind of makes our offense one dimensional, and it makes things easier for the defense to dictate what we can and can't do. But at the same time, Dax just can't, like, I can appreciate your analysis on that second pick, that pick six, but that just, you can't throw that ball.
Yeah.
I think that, and Greg Olson, I think, was the guy that pointed out he's phenomenal. By the way,
Yeah.
everybody talks about
He's a lot
Romo,
better
but
than what I expected.
yeah, he's tremendous, man. Like,
Yeah.
everybody talks about Romo and all those guys, but Greg Olson deserves a lot of credit too. He's been
Yeah.
fantastic as a commentator. But one of the things he discussed on the replay was how Schultz kind of died on his route, and if he would have just kept going, because it was a
Mhm.
shallow cross and he was open like you said, but he kind of died on his route a little bit. If he would have
Yeah.
continued to run, Dak would have probably had a different window to throw it in, and that linebacker would not have had time to close in and get that pick. So,
Yeah.
it's not just on Dak on that point. I think Schultz knew he was open, so he kind of just stopped his
Sat
route, but
on
he
it.
should have continued. He kind of sat down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that obviously contributed to it as well. But at the same time, like that, you cannot make that pass. Like, you can't
Yeah.
make that type of pass. in that situation. I I want to be that horse because you've already mentioned it. I mean, there's clearly something wrong with him, and we don't know what it is, and he's certainly not going to tell us what it is. If certainly if it's not a physical issue and it's a mental issue, he's not going to say there's a mental issue, and if it's a physical issue, he's not going to say it's a physical issue. So we'll never know what it is,
Exactly.
um, which just sort of lends itself to all the speculation that we hear. But I think that the criticism is fair, that we can't blame the defense for things that are happening or not happening.
Yeah.
And like like I said, this is the best defense he's had his whole career. So you hope that he can figure it out because there's something to get. Like there's a prize to get, man. If this defense plays the
Mhm.
way they are playing right now, and we can figure out the offense. God bless
Ooh.
anybody else trying to play us. I'm just being honest. Like
Yeah.
you saw how we played Tampa when we played Tampa, and defense was nowhere near what they are, even though they showed
Nowhere.
flashes in that game. Even
Yeah.
Trayvon showed flashes in that game, and obviously that was the
Mhm.
game that we lost Tank, and we just not got him back. So
Yep.
they haven't really had the opportunity to work their way into that chemistry that a lot of the other teams that had those stout defenses have already established throughout the year. So it's like I'm. It just sounds weird to say, but I'm not worried about the defense at all. Like y'all are fine, and we
Yeah.
have these last 4 weeks of the season to kind of figure that part out. So I'm good. But this offense, we got to get it squared away, and I don't know
Yeah.
what the recipe is. There's been a lot of talk about how they're running the ball and how there's been success when they have run to outside or pulled linemen out and made things more east and west as opposed to north and south, and how they've had more success in that. And for some reason, Kelly isn't calling those plays as much. I'm not sure if it's because of the lack of trust in the offensive line to be able to do that or what. But for me, I feel like what's happening now isn't working, so you got to figure something out. And so I don't
Absolutely.
think there's a reason why you wouldn't try those different things. We saw CD Lamb in the backfield taking a couple of snaps just to kind of
Yeah.
make things
Had
different.
to.
So just
Yeah.
try things out, man. Just try to figure it out. Get something going because you got Arizona in a couple of weeks coming in, and this
Talent.
type of offense is not going to beat them, particularly in a situation where even throughout that game, like before the collapse,
Yeah.
you're still settling for a lot of field goals that you shouldn't be settling
One
for.
touchdown.
One touchdown, and you only had 6 points in the second half, two field goals. And so, despite the collapse, even when you were up 18-0, it should have been way more than that. That game should have been,
Yeah.
when we talked about the game before the game, when I said they're gonna beat the hell out of them, it looked like that was gonna happen. Like I was like,
Mm.
I had a feeling this was gonna happen. And all of a sudden, the
Mm.
bottom fell out, and
Yeah.
it's you can give up those kind of collapses, so to speak, when you're converting those drives to touchdowns. But because you're only
Mhm.
getting field goals, it just makes things a lot easier to
Yeah.
collapse and to bring the other team in. So I mean, we've talked about this type of stuff after wins and kind of felt like, yeah, it's a win, but there's a lot of issues. I think
Mhm.
this is kind of one of those things, but certainly you love to be able to kind of work through those issues as you're winning games as opposed to the opposite. So um, I'll take the W, obviously, but we have we do have some games we can use to kind of work this stuff out, right?
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
the Giants next week, and then we have Washington again before we have Arizona and then closing out with Philly. So three out of those four
Figure
games you
it
can
out.
kind of use as tune-ups to figure it out. But
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we do have the two more games to buffer between now and Arizona, and hopefully during those two games we can figure it out. Because boy, I'm telling you, like we can't play like that offensively against Arizona. I think if the defense
They're
plays
gonna
the
get
way they're
ugly quickly.
playing, yeah, the defense plays the way they're playing. They keep us in the game,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to score against them ultimately. So
Yeah.
um, those are my thoughts. Any other thoughts on the game before we transition into some of these Week 15 games?
Special teams again.
Blocking the
Good
field, extra point.
leg. Yeah. Zerline hit all his field goals, and that block at the end, I think, was huge. It kept it at a touchdown, so touchdown extra point difference instead of it being 6 points. Because Washington was that one deep catch, the one at along the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
The guy ended up dropping, Chris something, ended up dropping because that guy he put it on him. I give Allen on
Yeah,
that one. That was a great throw. But yeah, the guy ended up dropping it. So yeah, I think special teams making that play, being able to block it, that was huge. Keeping it at 7 instead of the 6 point game.
for sure.
Yep.
So we will discuss the Cowboys game against the Giants when we discuss Sunday's slate of games. What we're doing in this video is just discussing the games prior to Sunday, which the first game is probably going to be one of the more exciting Thursday night games we've had in a little while.
Yeah.
Um, some of the games have been good, but they're just against teams that are just not really good. So this one is going to be a good one. So Thursday night this week is going to be the 9-4 Kansas City Chiefs visiting the 8-5 Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, AFC West division showdown there with I think some potential big implications depending on how the outcome of the game goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Chargers won the first meeting against these two, so technically, if they win this game, they sweep the Chiefs, so they end up in first place in the division.
Yeah. Would that
Um,
be crazy?
that would be crazy. So a lot riding on this game, and it's awesome that they are going to be the only show in town, so to speak, on that Thursday night. So, Will, I'll just hand over to you your thoughts on that game, and who do you see ultimately winning it?
I want to say Chargers end up sweeping because Thursdays has been a struggle for road quarterbacks. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes isn't your typical quarterback, but I mean, still, they if you to to be truthful, I feel like Arizona. I feel like Kansas City is going through the same struggle as Dallas. The defense has been carrying them because the defense is what's been keeping most of the teams that they've been playing of late below 17 points. I think it's been like below 17 points a game for like the past month plus.
Right.
So Kansas City, all they've been having to do is hey hit 21 and call it good. So for them, for this type of night, yeah, I'm still that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's going to end up taking Kansas City defense to be able to win it instead of Mahomes because yeah, that defense has been balling. So I think it's going to end up being Chargers. Have been at home. These past 2 weeks for the Chargers has been really good. They've balled out pretty well. Being able to go into Cincinnati, beat up on the Bengals 2 weeks ago, and then the win this past week against the Giants made it look really easy. So I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge, and yeah, I'm taking Chargers. And have you seen the AFC standings? Like it is incredible.
Yeah, it's a log jam. It's a log jam.
Yeah, all at 7-6, and Pittsburgh at 6-6-1. Like
Hmm.
this is incredible. So yeah, this
Yeah,
game is going to be really important across the board, not for just the teams that's playing, but also like outside of it, because you have all of these six lost teams that's still trying to make it into the playoff mix as well. So for them to have the opportunity, you're gonna still have a ton of jockeying to get to that point. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers in this one. I think it's gonna be a close one. But I think the Chargers will make enough plays to get the sweep and to get the division lead.
that'd be huge if they did that.
Yeah.
Um, I think one of the things with the Chargers that worries me is that they seem to kind of take their foot off the gas at points.
Mhm.
They seem to start fast and then kind of let other teams get back into the game, like we saw against the game with the Bengals, how they were about to run away with that game, and all of a sudden you
Yeah.
look up and it's a one possession game in the fourth quarter. Um, and I think obviously they can't do that against this team. I don't think, and being though it's the Raiders, the Chiefs just not like they just blew the doors off the Raiders yesterday.
Yeah.
They had like 40 something points, almost 50. Um, so I don't know if that was like their way of breaking out of their offensive issues, or if it's just a case of just the Raiders just being that bad. I'm not really sure. It could be a combination of both, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think the Chargers, when they beat the Chiefs are still trying to figure it out. It was obviously earlier in the season where the Chiefs are having their struggles, and the Chargers went into Kansas City and beat them in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think that in this instance, Kansas City returns a favor. I think they beat the Chargers in LA. I just think that the Chiefs are really just on a roll, and they're hard to beat. And I've seen the Chargers kind of wilt under the pressure of games where you kind of feel like this is their opportunity to really show where they belong as far as potentially being a contender in the AFC or AFC West.
Mhm.
Um, so I think this is probably one of those games where they play well. I think I agree with you. I think it's probably gonna be a close game, but I just think that the way the Chiefs are playing right now, it's going to be hard to beat them, particularly knowing that they know what's at stake in this game. That if they lose this game, even though they'll be tied with them, they'll basically lose 2 games to them because of the tiebreaker with them having swept them in the season series. So, knowing what's on the line and knowing that the Chiefs understand the situation as far as now the door being open for them to get the 1 seed, obviously with Lamar Jackson getting hurt. Um, Obviously, we know the Patriots are right up there as well, but I think to keep pace with them, they obviously have to win this game. And so I'm gonna pick the Chiefs in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers pulled it off. I just think they've just shown to be inconsistent in situations where they really have the opportunity to prove that they belong in that level of potential contenders in the AFC.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs in this one, but I'm excited either way. I think it's gonna be a hell of a game to watch Thursday night for sure.
Agreed.
All right. Saturday, excuse me. We actually have a doubleheader of games. So the first game is going to be the 6-7 Oakland 6-7 Vegas Raiders going up against the 7-6 Cleveland Browns. Um, Obviously, we just talked about the Raiders kind of being on the struggle bus at
Yeah.
this particular point in time. And you have the Browns, who are only a game out in their division as far as um, taking the division lead. Obviously, we just saw yesterday that Lamar Jackson had an ankle sprain. We're not sure how long he's going to be out, but
Yeah.
there's a potential for for the Browns to come back and climb up into a tie with the Baltimore Ravens for first place in that division if they're able to get a win against I keep saying Oakland against Vegas in this particular game. Um, I have no reason to pick Vegas in this game. I have no reason to feel like they're gonna do anything to show any kind of pride. Obviously, we saw them attempt to galvanized themselves when they went to
Yeah.
midfield yesterday against the Chiefs. We saw how that went with them. They ended up being down 35-0 in like the first 10 minutes of the game. So that kind of backfired on them. And I feel like that was like their last gasp of trying to put something together for this season. So I thoroughly expect the Browns to win this game on Saturday. What about you?
I told you last week that game, Vegas game against the Cowboys was their Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, since then they've checked out. Yeah, they're gonna lose again. They lost 4 fumbles and had an interception and threw an interception yesterday. So they just giving that thing up. And I know at least one of the fumbles got returned for a touchdown. So like I said, it's going. I think Cleveland going to continue that. You have Miles Garrett on the other side of football. He's he's trying to pull the team into the playoffs.
By himself.
Uh, since Vegas is a bad team, Baker will have a good game, a back-to-back good game. Um, yeah, I mean, I knew that. I figured that I can't say that I knew, even though I guaranteed it. But I figured that they would win yesterday, primarily because that it's a talented team, and I
Mhm.
think they have enough talent to get into the playoffs.
Mhm.
And then the defense showed up, especially Miles Garrett, but I think it was sack, fumble, recovered, and then
Recovery and
touchdown.
touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So him showing up, defense showing up. So yeah, I think it's going to be basically in line with the same thing. The defense is going to show up, show out, and embarrass Vegas, uh, or Vegas gets embarrassed again. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just one of those games where it's just like, how the hell do we lose to them? Like it's just.
Everybody gets up for the Cowboys, and
I
then
know,
Cowboys
but
end up being
man,
down to where the competition typically is, and they end up dropping below where they are. So
just look at where
stuff
we'd
like
be
that.
at though. We'd be 10-3. We'd be
If
right
they're in
up
the
there
mix,
with the Bucks and the
yeah,
Packers and the Cardinals. Like
yeah,
anyway, there's no point of
yeah,
discussing
dwelling, yeah,
it. And then the Saturday night game on that particular evening is going to be the 9-4 New England Patriots visiting the 7-6 Indianapolis Colts.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure we both picking the Pats in this one, but uh, I'm definitely picking the Pats in this one. I have no reason not to pick the Pats, in my opinion, at this point. They're coming off a bye too. Like
yeah,
it's just God bless Carson Wentz. Hope he makes it out okay. Obviously, they always have a shot because they have Jonathan Taylor, but
yeah,
that the New England Patriots defense is just so good that he's gonna have to run for 200. They got a chance, I think. So I'm picking them to go on the road and win. I think Mac Jones throws more than 3 passes in this game, so that's gonna be a step up for him. But yeah, I definitely see New England winning this game. How about you?
I actually wanted to go for the Colts in this one,
Don't do it. Don't
especially.
do it.
Well, I'm not. I'm going with the Patriots. But the thing is, the longer your win streak is, the closer you are to losing type of situation. You
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
And the Colts do have a decent defense when they're up and playing, and then yeah, that running back is something serious as well. But New England, Bill Belichick loves to take away what you're best at. So of course they're going to go after. They're going to go for the run, stopping the run, putting it on Carson Wentz's arm, trying to get the win. And they know how hard that can be, being able to, because he will throw you the football, trying to be a gunslinger, but you also have to have a
Mm-hmm.
ton of talent to be a
Mm-hmm.
gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like half his problem. He has talent, but not enough to be a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I'm going with the New England in this one. Great, the defense has been balling. Uh, the game plan for the offense. Like I say, not asking Mac Jones to do too much, but he still has enough talent to do a little bit more than what they'll ask for him
Mm-hmm.
to do, and it's been enough to be able to help him beat teams. Was it 7 in a row now? I think it is. So it's been crazy. I think it is like 7.
I know they lost to last.
Yeah, 7.
So yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
with them being able to pull off 7 in a row, it's been pretty incredible. So yeah, I think it's going to be 8 in a row for them. Because yeah, and I think with this loss, it's just going to make that log jam right there, trying to get into those wild card spots even crazier uh, for the AFC. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
You know, do you think the AFC just like is that good or that bad? Like they seem to be beating up on each other. And I
Yeah.
just wonder if it's just because there's a bunch of mediocre teams or if there's like just like a bunch of good teams. But like,
Mhm.
because I look at like Baltimore, I'm like, just when you think they got it figured out, they lose to Pittsburgh or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, last night or yesterday it's different. Obviously, they lost their quarterback halfway through the game, so that's different. But it
Yeah.
just seems like you look up and teams that you feel like a Buffalo, you feel like got it figured out. They blow one, against a bad team, but then they come up and almost beat Tampa Bay yesterday, which I feel like they should have
Yeah.
won that game.
Mhm.
Just some things didn't go their way, obviously, but they had the opportunity to come back into that game and tie it. Just gave Tom Brady too much time, I guess, in that scenario. But real quick before we wrap up, I just want to ask your opinion on this.
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw how that game transpired in the fourth quarter towards the end of it, where they had 3rd and 2, I think, like at like the 6 or the 5 somewhere,
Mhm.
and Josh Allen threw a fade to Stephon Diggs. That to me, it was clear he got held, but they didn't call it,
Yeah,
so it ended up being incomplete. So it was 4th and 2. In that situation, knowing where you are, knowing you're down 2, it's 27-24. You got the ball in the fourth quarter, 4th and 2. Obviously, there's guaranteed points there because Tyler Bass is a good kicker.
yeah.
But do you kick the field goal in this scenario? Or do you try to go for the 4th and 2?
I'm going for a 4th and 2. I'm
I am
spreading them
too,
out.
man.
I'm spreading them out and trying to get it. But I understand why they kicked it because your quarterback wasn't 100%. Because 100% Josh Allen, I think they would have went for it because of how mobile he is. That foot, I think it was not the last touchdown, but the one before on that drive, he ended up hurting his foot. So I think that's what had them to change to not go for it. But me, yeah, because we need this dub. So hey, might get it, might not, but hey, we gonna lay it out there though, because you don't
I'm
know how
going.
many opportunities you get to down there for another score. Because you see, it went to overtime and they punted their first
Right.
drive and bam, Tampa put up a touchdown, game over. So
And then he
go
ran for
for it.
100 yards, bro. Like he already ran for 100 yards. Like I get it. You want
Yeah,
to protect him, whatever. But I mean, if you want to protect him, sit him down. If you got him out there, like you'd be able to run. Like it's 2 yards. You can't get two
yeah,
yards. Like
yeah, yeah. I'm
I don't
spreading them
know.
out and going after that. And with that passing, the no call, to me, it was, I wouldn't have called it, to be honest.
You
It looked
wouldn't
like
have.
they were holding each other. Right. The Diggs and if we're thinking of, if
It
I'm
was
thinking of the same
Davis.
play,
I think it was
it looked like they
Davis.
were, yeah, it looked like they were hand fighting. Like that was a legit holding each other. I know there was a play earlier
He
that,
definitely got hold of that.
yeah,
I
he
mean,
held
that
up
play for
his
sure.
arm and they didn't call anything. Like that should have been pass interference, but I think that one towards the end of the game, I wouldn't have called because it looked like they were just both of them were holding on to each other, waiting for the ball to get there, and then one of them tried to make a play.
I think I'm just scarred just because I feel like if that was Anthony Ryan, I definitely would have threw a flag. And so I'm just
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like, all right, well,
absolutely.
in that situation, it's got to be a flag because I mean, it would have been
Yeah,
if it was AB.
it's
Um,
facts. Those are the facts.
yeah, I was curious about that because I'm like, I mean, it's Tom Brady.
I'm going
Like
for it.
you've seen this play so many
Yeah,
times. Like you know how it's
exactly.
gonna play out.
I'm gonna
Obviously,
go.
they didn't leave enough time on the clock in the fourth quarter for him to do anything. But
Yeah,
it's like, bro, I'm going for it, man.
yeah. Nah,
Like
if we're gonna lose, we gonna lose
we
on
go.
our terms.
I'm with you.
On
I'm
our
with you.
terms.
I'm
Like,
with you.
nah, it's just from us not doing enough to win it. I'm not gonna lose from Tom Brady throwing a fade, early fade, and dude go get the ball. Nah,
Nah,
nah.
bro.
I'm not leaving it to a chance.
I think you just certain conventions go out the window, like when you plan certain teams, and that's one of those
Yeah,
teams where it's like I don't give a damn what the situation is. I mean, obviously, if it's like 4th and 8, that's different, but
yeah.
fourth and
Fourth and
two,
two. Yeah,
nah, bro.
yeah.
We stay on the field. If I'm just,
Especially
I'm like,
like
nah,
we just can't. This thing we were down by 17, bro.
exactly. You
17.
playing with
Nah,
house
we
money
could
already. Like,
exactly.
finish them.
It's mm-mm.
Nah, I'm
Nah,
with
we
you.
finna go win this thing. And win or lose, we finna go do what we can.
Yep. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. We appreciate you guys joining us on this
Yeah.
one. We'll let you know when we do our prediction for the remaining of the week, but we wanted to A, discuss the Cowboys winning this one, and then B, get some stuff on the books for this unusual scheduling of games this week.
Mhm.
So if there's nothing else, man, I appreciate you guys watching as always. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Twitch. We will more than likely be dual casting for the rest of the time now that we have everything set up the way we wanted to. But we certainly encourage you guys to follow us on all platforms on Instagram and on TikTok as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. And for Will, I'm Jay, and we are out.